another emerging tech pulse, this time from the home of NotCentralised. So we're here in the offices and I just wanted to go through with you a few things that are of interest to us this week. So first of all, we're going to take a look at Chain Reaction, which is the Oz DeFi Association newsletter, which is out every Monday, and the things that came up that were really interesting. First of all, we were at Block Unlock, thanks to Paulius Gatauskas over in Canberra. We saw some amazing people there, Karen Cohen, Hamish Jones, our own our own chapter lead there, Jordan Franklin. She was on as well, and she was doing a few workshops. And we also got to participate in a few things along with Simon Callahan from Blockchain Australia and many other greats that were there. So it was really great to see that all the participation and everyone that was involved in that. Great to share that the community is growing stronger and stronger, and it's not just all along Sydney and Brisbane and Melbourne, but also in Canberra as well. Later on this month, I'll be over in Perth, so it's going to be really interesting to see the collaborating across the continent stuff that goes on there too. Another thing that was interesting this week was that we got to share the Stables podcast, and that was one where I interviewed their co-founder, Erez, as you can see on the show here. That was over at Crypto Lulu, and we're going to be filming some more podcasts there as we get to know the community and do things for the other parts of the series. So there's something I'm going to be doing in terms of the rants and raves, which is all about opinions in this space. So you'll see a special guest there tomorrow, as well as one of our other sponsors that I will be interviewing as part of the Getting to Know the Community series, and that's James Coombs over at Block Earner. So keep an eye out for that. As you can see behind me, I've got the Emerging Tech Pulse podcast with myself on there, and I was doing some stuff in terms of what was new last week when we filmed one of these, and that was all about what's happened in the world of Web3. We're going to be covering AI as well. And we also put out the Sensand podcast. So that was actually Sensand that did the meetup with us, and that was over at Melbourne. So they're our main sponsor there. This was part of Blockchain Week, and it was great to get Fireblocks, Michael Sharlov and Shane Werner from Fireblocks. Michael is their global CEO. He was here in Australia, and we were very lucky to get the opportunity to interview him just before the meetup, and it was great to get him on the panel as well, and he talked all about how he got started in the space, and we learned a whole lot more about what Fireblocks do in terms of infrastructure for blockchain. And the rest of the newsletter is all about what's going on in the news. So that's global, it's local, it's to do with regulation. The interesting things were Ripple winning their court case against the SEC. You can hear Discord there in the background, but it was all about basically how they were able to win that. The judge ruling that what they've got in terms of their token is not a security, it fails the Howey test. What that means potentially for other tokens, what it also means for us over here. And we also had other takes from folks that are in our community. So make sure to check that out along with other news in the Chain Reaction newsletter. And another thing that we got to do this week, and that we do every week if folks weren't already aware, is that we run the Data Science and AI Association of Australia. It is Sydney based, but we are looking to expand. There's another newsletter out for that. That's on Medium. It's called AI Chronicles. So I put that together during the week. It covers what is going on in the news each week, and there's a lot of great content, as you can imagine. So last week it was all about things like putting out over the weekend something called the Explainer series, which is available on the Oz DeFi Association podcast. We're doing that in conjunction with the Data Science and AI Association, and what you can see here in the background is one of the prompts that I put up, and I'll be putting up a few more. This one is called Act Like A. And you basically tell it to act like, in this case, a salesman, and you, as the user, you try to counter it. You try to say that you don't want the products, you don't want the services that it's got. And you're seeing how ChatGPT comes up with some really clever and interesting responses that you then may learn to use when you're dealing with customers or partners or whatever kind of a collaboration or sales thing that you're looking to do. So it could be doctors looking to handle how to work with difficult patients and customers, etc. But you're using the knowledge from ChatGPT to do that. Another thing that we saw was our good friend Dr. Michael Colo, who we've worked with in the finance space. We know well there. He was also doing stuff in blockchain and is just a very clever fella. He was on AusBiz as well as in Sky News talking about generative AI and just what that is doing and how this is something that's actually going to stay. So make sure to check that one out as well. Another thing that we saw in the news was that federal MP Jason Clare is talking about how they're going to be looking at how generative AI is used in education. So we speak to a lot of startups in our role at NotCentralised, and we can see a lot of people that are focusing on the education space. Because if you think about it, properly used, all teachers would get a teacher's assistant. All students would get some sort of tutor that is there personalized just for them. So no wonder education is looking at this space. Finally, I think a thing that would be interesting to look at if you've missed it from the newsletters is there's an Ars Technica article, which is all about the GPT detectors out there, whether it's GPT-0 and all of those other kind of third-party tools out there, but they're not all they're cracked up to be. I mean, if you feed it some old documents of yours, you may even see, like I have, that some of your old writing is partially AI driven. So if you've done that before AI, either you've got a time machine or there's a flaw in the way that we use these GPT detectors. So definitely worth looking at, and check out AI Chronicles. That's it for the Tech Pulse. I'll see you again next week.